What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of All Over Voiceover with Kif VH. I'm your host, Kif VH. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. And thank you to my guest today in studio, a friend of mine from CESD, my talent agency, the lovely, the talented Mr. Cedric L. Williams. Welcome, dude.
Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing me here today.
Dude, thanks for being here.
No problem. I wouldn't miss it, man.
Isn't this fun?
Yeah, man.
So, like, when did you come to? I know you're from Kentucky originally, right?
Yes, a very small town called Radcliffe. Doesn't have that many people. Everybody knows each other. And yeah, we're so small that we're actually connected to another town called Elizabethtown. And
is that in Pennsylvania, Elizabeth?
No,
that's a different place.
It's still in Kentucky. We're 45 minutes from Louisville. So whenever I say I'm from Kentucky, I'll say 45 minutes from Louisville because everybody knows about Louisville.
Are you east or west of Louisville, or north or south of Louisville? Or...
I think I'm south of Louisville.
Okay. That's a beautiful part of the country, though, man.
Yeah, like the grass isn't literally blue, but it's so green that it has a blue tint to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of dirt roads, a lot of horses. My mom actually has a couple horses.
Really?
And yeah, Molly B and Duke.
Yeah. Did you ride? Did you ride and stuff, or does she ride with them, or race with it all, or just have them, just kind of raise them? And
growing up, she didn't have the horses. This is kind of something that happened after I left for Los Angeles. So I recently went back. That was my first time meeting her two horses,
cool.
She does ride. She's a cowgirl in Kentucky. That's what she does when she's not, doing her thing. When she's not working, she's riding horses.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's horse country. I mean, it's just beautiful down there, man.
Yeah, you got to have at least one horse.
Yeah.
And they're not as expensive as I thought they were.
Really?
They're like maybe $500, $600 for a horse.
That's it?
Yeah.
I was under the impression that it was closer to like $5,000 or $6,000, and then you've got to have like you got to have stable, you got to have room, you got to have all that stuff that you would normally have.
It's very convenient there. I guess since it is horse country, they understand that like the horses they come cheap for some reason. I was surprised too, man. I'm like, you can buy a dog for that amount.
Yeah, right.
And a horse is like this large herbivore that can literally stomp you, and it's huge.
Oh man,
yeah,
what a trip. So when did you move? Well, did you start doing voiceover work when you were in Kentucky as well, or in school, or what was your trajectory? Well, let me back up beyond that. Like, okay. I've talked to a lot of different folks just hanging out in the lobby at CESD, and what's always impressed me or has been just interesting to me about you in particular is your knowledge of animation. Like you've got like names behind voices and all kinds of other stuff, and just seem really inspired by this industry. And yes. I know that a lot of people have, that sort of a fan approach to this work, but here you are, like a newly minted member of the Screen Actors Guild. Like, I'm very curious and excited about your particular journey, especially during this time.
Well, I've always been doing voices since I was a little kid. I've always had like a very different voice. My voice never really made the transition. And so in school, I would do whenever we were reading stories, they would have me change my voice. Like I remember one time we read A Christmas Carol, and I was Ebenezer Scrooge, and they didn't want me to read it unless I did it in Uncle Scrooge's voice. Scrooge, that's DuckTales, my bad. Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
So I just put on that evil kind of grumpy old man voice. Bah, humbug. And that's all I did. And so I also grew up watching cartoons. I love cartoons. I watch them every day, all day.
Yeah.
Even now. I didn't know voice acting was a thing. I originally just wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And so and anime was also a thing I really loved. I love the Japanese culture, and I also love video games, which all is in the voiceover, realm.
Yeah.
So me not knowing this, I just loved it. And then randomly I was on YouTube, and this guy, he's not a famous voice actor or working voice actor. He was just a guy that put a demo on YouTube. His name is Calvin Walker, or Jazz Walker is what he goes by now.
Okay.
And he put on this demo, and I was like, it like sparked something in me that was in my subconscious, like, wait, voice acting is a thing, and this is how you start? Make a demo? And so after that, I produced my own demo, which is it went through, different phases. Like the finished product that eventually got me my agent, that was version number 3.
Okay.
And so when I was in the process of making my demo, I did a lot of research on my favorite voice actors, Tom Kenny, D. Bradley Baker, Tara Strong, Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah.
I listened to their demos on VoiceBank. I pretty much became a student. I became a sponge. Speaking of SpongeBob was my favorite cartoon. Right. That's the voice I used to do in high school a lot. I used to do SpongeBob a lot in high school. Da, da! They used to call me
great.
SpongeBob in high school. Yeah, and so I became a sponge, and I absorbed all this knowledge because, I found out like I can be a cartoon.
Yeah.
And so I went on VoiceBank, which is a website where you can listen to every voice actor's demos.
How did you find out about VoiceBank? Did you?
I just did.
We're just digging about it, digging into it, and found out like this is where you can find demo reels of VoiceBank. This is where you go.
Yes, I actually don't know how I found it, but the internet is a wonderful place.
Yes, it is.
So much information, and I found out about certain books, like Voiceover Voice Actor by Tara Platt and Yuri Lowenthal.
Yeah.
I even contacted my favorite voice actors on Facebook, and they're so nice. Like, I contacted D. Bradley Baker, and I didn't think he was ever going to answer me.
Right.
And he also has a great website, too, called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, which I found out from Steve Bloom in an interview. Steve Bloom is a great voice actor, by the way. Does a lot of video games. And I was producing a creature demo at the time. And he's the master of creatures. Him and Frank Welker are pretty much the biggest creature voice actors. And so I produced this demo. I just wanted his opinion on it, and he was very nice. He told me exactly what I need to do to improve on it. And so I was going through all this phase of just absorbing as much knowledge as possible. I had the specific agency that I wanted, which was CESD. Really?
So you targeted CESD without a doubt?
Yes.
What was the purpose behind specifically targeting them versus DPN or SBV or some of these other folks?
There was just something about them. Like when I was writing down my list, it was Osbrink, Abrams, AVO, Vox, Imperium 7. I looked at their roster. And then I looked at their websites, and there was just something about CESD. For one thing, they have 3 letters in their agency name, and CED, which is the first 3 letters of my name. So I kind of, maybe it's fate.
I'll never look at the logo the same. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so it just kind of spoke to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I understand that. I totally do. I mean, I'm with them as well. And there is something about for me, it was meeting with them that absolutely sold me on who they are, and that I don't know. It's an honor to be a part of the.
Yes.
I hear you, but I'm cutting you off and jumping in with my.
No, it's okay, man. You're a fellow CESD member, and I'm happy that you're happy. We're a family, and we love our agency. Yeah, they are amazing.
They really, truly are.
Yes,
but so you have a list, and you're like, I want to be with these guys.
Yes.
So what was your process as you not only built the reel? But in terms of finding, we talk about the reel. I'm going to talk about your reel a lot. I'd love to play. Do you mind if I play it?
Oh, go ahead, man.
For our audience. So this is Cedric's reel, and this was version 3, I think.
Yes,
right?
version 3.
And you built this yourself. How did you go about the process of making it?
Okay, so one of the things I did to practice and to make my voices consistent, I did something called, this was during my growing phase and learning phase. I did something called the Kooky Convo. Pretty much it's me hosting it's like a kind of like a podcast like you're doing right now. But I'm interviewing a character voice. And how I edit it, I make it sound like it's two different people talking to each other. Okay. And I wrote the whole script. It's like maybe they range from 5 to 10 minutes. I think I managed to do 6 episodes of them. It was great practice because my characters went through all these different emotions and levels. So it kept my voices consistent. And those voices, I put some of them on the demo. Okay. Another thing is I used to draw my own cartoon characters. And I would just imagine a picture really helps me too when I create a voice. Yeah. And I found my strengths, remembered those characters, including the ones on the Kooky Convo, and put them on the demo. And that's how it came to be.
What did you use technically? What was the technical setup? Like you mentioned, you had a USB mic. Is that what you were using? And
yes, I used the Blue Yeti, which is a very good USB mic. For the programs, I use Audacity, which is free. Yep.
Cross-platform. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And to master it, I used Adobe Audition.
And when you were mastering, when you refer to that, so you record it in Audacity, then you import your raw audio footage into Audacity and then layering sound effects and music and that kind of stuff?
Yes. And for the music and sound effects, especially for animation, I wanted to have a theme song for each character. Like, if that song doesn't fit that character, it does not go in the demo. Like, it has to ring. You know how Superman has a theme song? Do-do-do! Right. Like, my characters needed that too, and it kind of brought it to life. I ripped the sounds from YouTube. I went to a website called listentoyoutube.com. You can get any YouTube link, put it in, and it'll rip the MP3. Wow. Yeah, sound effects too. And I just put it in the right order. And when you hear the demo, you'll see like the reason for my ordering of my characters. But I know my strengths are like high-pitched young characters, but I show a little bit of range, maybe stuff I wouldn't normally go out for, but just to show people that I can do it.
Yeah. Great. Let's play your reel, and then we'll talk about it after. Here we go. This is awesome. Cedric's reel. This is version 3. Here we go.
I really like you a lot, Brittany, and I wanted to be honest with you. I hear voices in my head. Yeah, and they sound kind of like...
Why doesn't anyone like me? I'm just as cool as Superman, right?
Well, I just defeated a giant Cyclops the other day with both wings tied behind my back.
You're so mean. You go me fast.
Why you always treat me like a baby?
Give me your lunch money, punk.
Ow, Wedgie, I don't have any money for you today.
Shark! There are little tiny alligators stuck in this jar. We must help them, Shark.
How many times have I told you, Gator? Those are pickles.
Owie!
He looks pretty beat up. You're saying he's not gonna snitch?
Come on, let's have some fun. Nothing will stop me from destroying you all. Oh, the pie's done.
Oh, yeah! It is not a diaper. It is called a mawashi.
I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you.
I'll never let you have the princess. Starblade, give me strength. Falling Star Strike.
Earthlings sure are ugly.
Dude, that's not nice. My mom says I'm beautiful.
Go away. You're big and scary.
I'm sorry, little guy. I didn't mean to scare you.
We both got each other's beaks. We're bananas. You can say we appeal to each other. It was love at first sight.
No, that's the problem with y'all young folk.
Mom, the other kids won't let me play. Hello, K9. You will be my test subject for my greatest experiment ever.
You've been a dragon, my favorite food.
Whoa! I can hear myself inside my head.
Talking to girls is just like how I dreamed it would be.
Animals are people too. They deserve our respect. I'm down for whatever. Tell me what I gotta do.
You already know the answer to the question you seek.
I'm afraid this is the end.
Oh man, what a blast!
Thank you.
And what strikes me that I just wanted to compliment you on is I feel like, you know, I hear your range, and your range is dizzying. There's just so much variety in it. But what's also great behind it is that I don't just hear a bunch of crazy voices. I do feel a sense of hearing character throughout.
Thank you.
And that the work that you put in is really evident in that you spent time working on yourself, not just as a voice, but as an actor. Does that make sense? That differentiation?
Yes.
You know,
I like to elaborate on that. Okay, so when I write the list of characters, I give them each a name. Mm-hmm. I give them an age or occupation and what they want more than anything. And that kind of helps me from there. Because then in the demo, I was able to whatever they were doing in that particular moment when you're hearing them, you can tell that something happened before that. And just like me melting into the character because I know everything about them. That's very important. Always when you're making a demo, don't just say voice number 1, deep voice 5, or crazy voice 10. Give them names, ages, occupations, so you can truly believe that you are that character.
Yeah, you're playing characters, and no matter what context, you're always a character. And if you come at it from a standpoint of just a silly voice, then that's what it is.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, it's you doing a silly voice. We were talking about it the other day. One of my guests mentioned, he's like, it's like acting in one of those you want to see me acting? Sure, I'll put a mustache on. See, now I'm a man with a mustache. That's not a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's great. How long did it take you to develop that list of characters and that process? And how did you decide what characters to include? You know what I mean?
Okay. Since that is version 3, it took maybe a year to get it to that point. But it's mostly just a compilation of voices I've been doing my whole life and stuff I put in Kooky Convo or characters I created. And but let's say, the process after I pick out the characters, recording, I like to take my time. So I take maybe like a week or 2 to record and get it just right. And then the editing process, maybe like another 2 weeks. And then I listen to it at least 20 times before I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And I'll get critiques or whatever. One thing I did was I put it on this Facebook group I'm in. It's called Voices Anonymous. They meet every month in Burbank. They have a lot of working voice actors there that will honestly give you a great feedback. So before the demo was done, I put it on in the group. I just had the voices. I didn't have the music or anything or sound effects.
Sure.
And then Bob Bergen just so happened to listen to it.
Oh, geez.
Because he's in the group.
Yeah.
And he rarely ever answers interacts with the group. And he told me, he gave me the same compliment you gave me a few minutes ago about the characters. Like, he felt they were characters and not just voices.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And
that's a great compliment coming from Bob in particular.
Yes, he's a legend.
Yeah, he is.
Voice of Porky Pig, guys.
Oh man, Bob is something special, man.
Yes, best. He's by far one of the best animation voiceover teachers in the business.
He's a tremendous teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, I studied with him in Chicago for an extended weekend, and it was just, When there's an availability to take a Bob Bergen class, it's worth looking into. Yeah, he's great.
He has a year-long waiting list, I hear.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's kind of and one of the most important things is the intro. The intro that I did for this, I want them to hear my real voice first so they can see where it goes after that.
Yeah.
So they can see a little bit of me before I transition into these characters.
But it helps set up kind of what you're getting ready to do too.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's really important. It helps make sense of what you're presenting to and it makes it feel like a complete piece.
Yes. Without it, it would not be complete. And instead of just saying Cedric Williams demo reel, I wanted to do an actual scene. The first thing I had in mind was I was at a campfire and I'm about to tell a scary story to the people at the campfire. I'm like, nah, I don't really like that vibe. So let me do like me on a date with a girl. And I'm confessing that I have these voices in my head. And then when I say, I hear voices in my head, it goes right into the first voice, which is like a voice which is significantly deeper than my regular voice, so I decided to do the superhero voice.
Right.
Which is, his name is Extraordinary Man. He's kind of like a bootleg Superman. He also has an inferiority complex. Everything that Superman is, this guy tries to be.
Yeah.
He has weird powers. His comic book doesn't sell as good as Superman's. And so,
That's great.
That's what I wanted for that first character. And then the other character is kind of like, and I did not do this on purpose, but it seemed like the characters one after another seemed like they were responding to the previous voice.
Huh.
I did not do that on purpose.
Yeah.
It just so happened when I was putting it in order, it just ended up like that.
What was influencing the running order choices? Did you feel like it was so that you had more variety, like you would do a deeper, more sort of like, like you were saying, an Extraordinary Man, and then jump to a higher character for contrast and that kind of stuff? Or was it more dictated by music, or what was affecting the choices as you were going through the assembly of it?
First voice, I wanted a voice that would completely throw you off. Like, wow, that's you?
Uh-huh.
So it had to be a deep voice first.
Yeah.
And then it goes, after that, I just did my favorite characters, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
And then it just so happened to work. Like, the voice after Extraordinary Man is Landon the Dragon.
The one that was like, I destroyed a Cyclops the other day with both wings tied behind my back.
Right.
He's one of my favorite characters to do because he's in one of the episodes of Kooky Combo.
Okay.
He's a young dragon that can't breathe fire or fly yet. And so he's kind of like, but he tells these fibs that he destroys these large mythical creatures and that he's doing that he's friends with Harry Potter and all that stuff.
Right.
And, but he's really just, he's not any of those things. But he wants to feel cool. So characters I connect with like that.
That's fantastic. God, the depth that you put in. I mean, literally, like my reel is like, here's a newspaper man, like, and that's about as deep as it got for me. And I think that what you did is light years beyond what I wish I had done with the level of work that you put into it and the level of knowledge that you have character-wise about who these characters are. It just comes screaming through.
Thank you.
When you were writing the copy for your stuff, I mean, did you write full scenes or write snippets? How did you come up with the content?
Mostly their catchphrases. Since I put a lot of characters in there, my demo is actually 30 seconds over than what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be 1:30. Uh-huh. This was probably like 2 minutes.
Is that like a rule of thumb?
I hear, yeah, because like casting director or agent won't even probably listen to the whole thing. So that's why if you're going to put that many characters in there, make it engaging, short and sweet.
Yeah.
The less characters you put, the longer dialogue you can have for each character. But I want to at least put 29, 30 characters in there. And so it kind of made it a little long. So like, something that, since you can't physically see what the character is, a good thing I like to do is describe what the character's doing or attribute about them that'll have you think, what could this thing be?
Yeah.
Like for Landon, the line was, I defeated a Cyclops with both wings tied behind my back. Okay, he could be a bird, he could be in this case, a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
But since he says Cyclops, you automatically think, okay, maybe he's a mythical creature, and he has a reptilian voice. So, dragon, Extraordinary Man, I'm just as cool as Superman, superhero. The little cute character I did, what was the line? I'm sorry. Something like that. That could be anything. That's a teddy bear character. It could be a mouse. It could be any type of small creature.
Yeah.
But yeah, the catchphrase is very important. You're creating that world through audio. I call it audio art.
Audio art.
Yes.
That's great. I see how that specificity really makes all that difference too. I mean, it's really great. What did you make that reel while you were here, or did you do it did you start it? Well, how long have you been in Los Angeles? When did you move out here?
I moved here in 2010, so I've been out here for 6 years now.
Okay.
And no, there was a year where I was just focusing on the on-camera acting. But I still had kind of like, a desire to do voiceover, because I think I heard that guy's demo, Calvin Walker's demo, like mid 2010.
Okay.
And so I made like, the first version of this demo quality-wise, because I didn't have the equipment or the software or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good. But, I managed to get, like, a couple Craigslist cartoons.
Great.
And that was my first job was a cartoon called Belleville. This guy's a friend of mine now. We just recorded it in his place at the Palazzo. And it's kind of like an adult cartoon. But the characters were so funny. One guy who's actually on the demo, his name is Mitch. He's like this kind of fat... racist, sort of like political guy who's self-conscious.
He was the guy that kind of sounded like this. His name is Mitch. Well, my name is Mitch. That's another thing, too. When you're talking in your character, say I or me. Because that makes you really feel like the character.
Right.
And so, yeah. Oh, I kind of drifted a little bit.
That's
okay. What was the question?
Well, my question was where did you get started in VO stuff? Like, were you messing around with it in terms of recording and playing with that stuff when you were in Kentucky? It sounds like no. It was like
no.
Once you moved out here. Well, let me take it back a step because I'm curious about your transition from where you grew up to getting out here. Like, did you like finish? Did you go to college or high school? What exactly was your trajectory that you were like, that's it. I'm leaving the farm and I'm off to seek my fortune in Los Angeles, California. What was the motivating force, or how'd you make that transition?
I've always wanted to be an actor since I was a little kid. Like I remember at 4 years old, I would act out the cartoons I watched. My mom's told me that I used to like dance in front of the Jungle Book and know every word verbatim. And it kind of started from there. And I've always liked to be the center of attention ever since I was a little boy.
Yeah.
And so like I've always wanted to come to Los Angeles. But my mom was like, finish high school first. I'm like, okay. So as soon as high school was over, I came out here.
Wow.
And by myself and started from scratch. And the voiceover thing just kind of, it found me. But it was always in me the whole time.
Yeah.
So, the thing that I got made fun of for in high school, my weird voice, I realized, hey, let me try to, it wasn't even about the money for me either. I just wanted to do it so bad.
Yeah.
And I found a way to do it.
Yeah.
With the limited resources that I had at the time.
I hear you. That's fantastic. I mean, it's when you have the love of it, the idea of being able to do it and then chase it and take risks to try to reach out and make something happen for yourself. It's so much more satisfying when you get there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You get that little plastic card with your number on it. And it's like, I'm in this union. I'm part of this thing.
Part of the secret club now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Screenings.
Oh man, I wish they had a screening for Civil War though. I really want to see that movie early.
Yeah, someone's seen it. It looks like it's going to be a blast though.
My friends saw it yesterday.
Really?
And they've had a few screenings early for Civil War. I'm a huge comic book fan, by the way, too.
Yeah.
And I really want to see that movie. I'm not like the first. Like when it gets closer to the release date, I am not going on Facebook at all because I don't want no spoilers.
People are going to ruin it.
Yep.
People are going to. That's what they do. It's just what they do. People specialize in telling you everything. Everything that's awesome about
Let me
something.
enjoy the experience for myself.
Right.
Like I want to feel that first experience feeling like I did when I saw the first Avengers.
Yeah.
And Age of Ultron.
Right.
I love these characters and I don't want anything ruined for this.
Yeah, I agree. What's of those? Well, if top of the mountain for you, if you could voice a character that you've been a fan of,
Ooh.
And go ahead. I'm sorry. Cut you.
Ooh. I'm just so excited. Miles Morales.
Oh, yeah.
And SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Those are my top two. And Static Shock, too.
Static Shock? Who's Static Shock?
Currently Phil Lamar. Phil Lamar was Static Shock in the early... Oh, who is Static Shock?
Yeah, I don't know the character.
He is... he has electrical powers. He has dreadlocks. And he is sometimes in the Justice League when he's older.
Okay.
But he's not... he has a cult following. He's not as popular as maybe Cyborg or, some of those other DC characters like Robin and the Teen Titans.
Sure.
He's sometimes in the Teen Titans.
Okay.
He is, growing up, he was one of my favorite characters to look at.
How'd you become acquainted with Static Shock?
He
showed up in one of the comics you were reading and you were like, I got to find out more about this character?
The cartoon.
The cartoon.
Yeah, he used to come on, I think, WB? Yeah, the WB. Yeah, it was so cool. Phil Lamar, who's one of my favorite voice actors, voiced him, and he did such a great job.
Yeah.
He also was very helpful to me early in my career. I asked him something on Facebook, and he was very polite and gave me the right advice. He actually told me about the book, Voiceover Voice Actor.
Oh, yeah, Tara and Yuri's book?
Yes. Voice actors are very, there's no egos. They're all so helpful.
Yeah.
They add you on Facebook. And I love it. I'm friends with so many voice actors that I love and respect.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm not on their level yet, but they're just, so embracing. And I love it. I don't feel that way for on camera sometimes. I feel like it's always a competition. But voiceover is a little bit more, it's not as competitive in that sense.
I agree. I feel like people are very open with their resources and with their time and just encouraging.
Yes.
And, and I don't know what that's about. Because we're all competing for, similar work and stuff, but there is a different spirit about it.
Yes.
And it's encouraging to me.
I think it might be because, confirm if this is true or not. If you're an actor that does video games, animation, anime, you're a big kid inside. You never truly grow up.
Yeah.
So maybe it kind of like that childlike, personality that you have, the love and imagination you use when you're creating your characters, makes you more humble, I guess. More. We have a term in the South, Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
So I guess for this, we can call it voice actor hospitality, something like that. We need a cool name for it. I'll think of one later.
All right.
But it's something cool, something just so friendly and magical about voice actors.
Yeah.
I love it.
I totally agree. I totally agree. What are some things that you would say to someone who is in, I don't know, somewhere else who's not here or here? Why not? Why not? They could be anywhere, but they're interested in starting off in this work and they don't really know where to begin. I mean, your path is so interesting to me in that you had the love, you were curious about how to do it. You jumped online and just started taking in resources and self-taught, not only from a technical standpoint, but from a character creation standpoint. You know what I mean? You, in many ways, taught yourself how to act, right? I mean, did you take acting classes and stuff like that, or less that and more using your natural skill set?
A lot of it is natural, but I did take acting classes, and I did watch a lot of movies growing up too.
Yeah.
And watch my favorite actors. I did take a few classes, Scott Sedita's class for on camera. For voiceover, I took Kalmison and Kalmison.
Oh, great.
And I'm still training. I took the Bang Zoom Entertainment Adventures in Voice Acting Workshop class.
Awesome.
It's mostly for anime and video game voice acting.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is acting. So I would say to start, you need to. Okay. I think you should first learn how to act. That's the biggest thing, and don't be afraid. Use your imagination. When you're doing these characters, don't just create project your voice out. Actually, add body movements and physicality to it. D. Bradley Baker's website is amazing. Like, if you're not in LA and you can't make it to a voiceover class like Richard Horvitz or Bob Bergen or Commison, I want to be a voiceactor.com tells you everything. And D is like one of the best animation voice actors in the business, so he knows what he's talking about. So trust his judgment. Everything he says, listen and learn. Become a sponge and just absorb all of that knowledge. Do some plays in your community. If you're in LA, I would advise taking a voiceover class just to see what it's like, because this is, there are a lot of people that want to do it, but they don't understand the acting part of it. They just think of the voice. Like, they're like, hey, people say I have a cool voice all the time, but you got to know how to act, though. You got to be able to learn how to use your imagination and let go. It's having fun, really.
What you've taken a lot of great classes. What are things that you wish that you had taken or feel like there was a gap in your knowledge that you wish you could fill? Does that make sense? Or like, you take a class and you're like, and you don't have to get specific about who or whatever, but I'm just trying to find ways to make classes even better. You know what I mean? Like, what are some things that you would want to experience in a voice class that would make you go, oh man, that's exactly what I was hoping to find? And maybe that's an impossible question to ask of like, what flavor would you wish there was? I didn't realize that that tiger blood is actually my favorite flavor because I've never had it. You know what I mean?
Okay. The ideal voiceover class, I prefer it to be smaller.
Just so you can log time on a microphone and that kind of thing?
Maybe like 5 students, close to like a private coaching. And they first they ask you, what are your favorite cartoons and what characters do you see yourself playing? And then after that, like, build your characters from scratch. Like, back to the occupation of your character, the age, the species, and just create. Create like practice demos. Do stuff like the Kooky Combo where you're interviewing your characters to keep them consistent. Learn how to use Audacity and Adobe Audition so you can do it at home.
That software is so necessary and totally user-friendly. There's so many inexpensive recording solutions. Like you can get, like you say, like the Yeti mic, or there's other USB mics out there, but like that's a great one. I mean, it's a great workhorse, microphone, and just record. It's a good way to get better. Reading out loud works too. D. Bradley Baker says do that a lot. Fantasy books are really good, like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, because they have multiple characters. Something I used to do, read comic books out loud, because you have a picture in front of you. So, the voice will come out naturally when you see the picture, and you can see their facial expressions. Like, how are they sounding when they say this? Like, what are they feeling? Know what your character's feeling, and that's very important. Watch a lot of cartoons. Be knowledgeable of the things. Maybe like in the class, you have a day where you just watch different cartoons on different networks, like Cartoon Network, Disney, and Nickelodeon, the big 3. You really do need, if you're going to go out, like I went out for an audition for a TV show the other day, and I didn't watch the show before I went. And I knew right afterwards that I completely blew it. Because here was this opportunity, but I didn't know the style of the show because I got busy with blah, 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 whatever it was that kept me from spending time or making the wrong assumption that I knew the tone of the show appropriately.
I bet you did fine, no, Kev.
Well, thank you, Cedric.
You're a talented dude as well.
You know what? I can fake it pretty well sometimes. But in this situation, like I literally did a line and then the casting director was like, ooh, serious. And I was like, is that right? Was that the wrong choice to make for the show? And because I wasn't up to speed on what I thought I had an idea of what the tone of and my tone might have been right. It could have been like, this is so esoteric and stupid. But like if the tone of the show is the color blue, that's the assumption I made. I never thought to ask, is it the blue of that curtain or is it the blue of this knob? or is it sky blue?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I by watching the level of cartoons that you kind of need to watch so that when you get a script, you have a clear understanding of what a Butch Hartman cartoon is versus a Dan Poffmeyer cartoon. You know what I mean? Like, is it Fairly Odd Parents or Phineas and Ferb? And am I going to get in trouble if I go into an audition for a Phineas and Ferb doing a Fairly Odd Parents read? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Knowing the tone.
Yeah.
And other mediums like video games, like they're kind of like the feature films of the voiceover world.
That's a great way of putting it.
Very serious. It's story based now. It's like it's an interactive movie.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite voice actors in video games is Nolan North, Troy Baker, and Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
They are the big three right now that's doing every video game.
Yes, they are.
Nolan is also with CESD.
Right.
Haven't met the guy yet, but I would love to.
Nolan,
He's great.
He comes in from time to time. He's around.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's very grounded, very real. They're not necessarily changing their voices all the time, but their emotion is so strong that you feel everything they're saying.
How important do you feel it is to be a fan of what you're chasing? I mean, it's kind of like it's so intrinsically tied to your life, as someone who's doing it. Like, did your fandom drive your desire to participate in that way, or is it like, I want to act and became a fan as you discovered it?
I've always loved cartoons, so I was already a fan from the get-go. And it was part of the fuel to my fire to becoming a voice actor. Like, cartoons was a big thing for me. I love cartoons.
What is it about cartoons that you love?
Make-believe. It's a different world. I don't know. I love to escape into these different realms in the cartoon world, and I don't know. It's I keep on using this term. It's magical. Because I guess it came from like me, because I used to create my own cartoon characters, and I guess that was a product of watching cartoons. Keeps me young, keeps me energetic and positive.
Yeah. That's important too.
Yeah.
Like I think that positivity and the choice of how energetically, I love, the way you approach things, and just coming into the office with that energy it's inspiring and positive because it's a room of possibility.
Yes, you can be anything. That's one of the things I love about voiceover. You don't have to just play what you appear to be on camera. That's cool. Like, I love my own camera too. Like, who doesn't want to be seen on camera? But voiceover, I'll never be able to play a dragon unless I'm a CGI character. Well, that's voiceover anyways, on camera, ever. Like, I'll never be able to play an alien on camera, in a sense. Mm-hmm. So you can be anything. If your voice is right for it, you can be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Oh, that's great, man. Do you draw a whole lot? Are you drawing comics or animation still, or you don't? Do you have time to pursue that? Do you want to create your own animation? Is that the goal down the road for you, or are you still sorting out goals?
I do eventually want my own cartoon series. I'm not really that, like, I wouldn't say it's a hobby. It's been something I've been doing since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
My style is very, like, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either.
Yeah.
It's a very, like, bubbly style of animation. And I just love creating different characters. Like, even if I don't complete, like, I used to actually draw my own comics back in school.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't necessarily finish the comic, just creating all the characters was fun for me. Different personalities, different powers, different, like, types of characters. Like, I had a character that was a hamburger. I had a character that was a gorilla that can change its size. It's just stuff like that that kept me young and free. I felt free.
That's awesome.
To create.
How do you, like, what do you do to keep yourself, because this is a difficult market. This is where everybody comes. So like, how do you keep yourself energized and keep yourself with a positive attitude about stuff, or like what's your day to day like? Do you have a practice, or what do you do?
Okay, watching cartoons is one. YouTube videos of my favorite voice actors, being inspired by them, watching behind the scenes of them in the studio, and listening to interviews. Rob Paulson's Talking Tunes is a great
it's a great show.
Podcast to listen to. This is also a great podcast to listen to.
Thank you.
Yeah. And keeps me motivated. Whenever I get a new audition from CESD, like, I put my all into it. Yeah. I do extensive research. It's like I'm creating a demo again. Yeah. But this time I'm doing it for the real thing, what I worked hard to get. And I set goals for myself. And 9 times out of 10, my goals come to fruition because I believed it and I worked hard towards it. So the motivation is just like knowing where what I've done so far and what the possibilities are. Because I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm ready to like make this a full-time thing. Yeah. I'm actually currently working on a new demo. I'm still making demos, guys.
Yeah. You got I mean, when you're in the process, you kind of have to constantly be in the process of creation of one thing or another.
Yes.
Do you have an additional job, or like, is this is what do you do?
I work at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Awesome, man.
I'm a guest experience captain. Pretty much, I wear the white jersey. I walk around doing birthday shout-outs, interacting with guests, entertaining them, telling them jokes, singing them happy birthday and all that cool stuff. Yeah. Sauce samples and beer samples for the people over 21. And passing out the Buffalo Circle, which is like a little, it's kind of like a mailing list thing that they can get. And just interacting with people, which is also good for this career that I'm following right now. Yeah. Because I get to talk to new people every day. Yep. Or the days I'm working, and learn different voices, different personalities, and just constantly entertain and being an artist in a sense. You know? Even at work during my regular job.
That's important to find. I mean, I work at Disneyland. I work everywhere. You just the cost of living in this place.
Oh yeah.
And having a place that provides you, stability in the process of building and nurturing your career. Yeah. It's awesome. And it's great, like, to have a place where you get to be surrounded by different kinds of energies and resources for you to draw from in terms of impressions of different voices and characters and that kind of stuff.
The kids love the SpongeBob.
Do you do SpongeBob impressions for them and stuff?
And my nephew, he's 4 years old. A couple days ago, actually. So he loves SpongeBob just like his uncle. And my mom was like, hey, can you call us later and talk to him as SpongeBob? Because he asked, can he talk to SpongeBob? Yeah. And my mom was like, yeah, Uncle Cedric, or Uncle Junior is what she calls me. I'm a junior. He knows SpongeBob. He lives in California with Cedric, with Uncle Junior. So I call my mom on her phone. She passes it to my nephew Exodus, and I talk to him as SpongeBob, and he's asking me questions. Yeah. And I kept it going, and he really believed he was talking to SpongeBob. It was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Like, that was one of my motivations too. My nephew. Yeah. It's a newly found inspiration. He loves cartoons, and since I'm not there in Kentucky to physically see him like grow up, except when I come for the holidays, he can watch me as he grows up on cartoons and hear my voice. He won't know it's me, but in a sense, subconsciously, he'll know. And
that's awesome. I mean, that to be able to give that gift, like that keeps me going too. Like, I think about the kid I was and the cartoons that I was into, and wanting to figure out how to be a part of that, and then being able to participate in one way or another and inspire the next generation of people who might want to do it in terms of the games that they play and that kind of stuff, is like, it's humbling, and it's a great responsibility in that way. And that you are a part of the magic creation that you're trying to give to folks, you know, and it's an important calling. And the fact that you're participating in that, it's awesome, you know, and it's hard.
It is
but
hard.
it's also like, you know, great. I mean, yeah. What kind of, all right, so you get your audition copy and what's your process for building the character before you start recording your audition? Do you do your auditions like at night, or do you usually do them straight out the gate in the morning, or after you've had some time to spend some time with the characters, or what's your usual process like?
Okay, when they send an audition, they'll say it's due. Say you get the audition on Monday, and they'll say it's due Friday or whatever. I usually go on the last day that is due or day before, so I can have a couple of days to develop the character. I read the description, and I underline the most important words in it, what makes that character that character.
Yeah.
Age, personality traits, etc.
Yeah.
If there's a picture, cool. If not, also cool, you know, but I prefer a picture.
Sure.
And then all right, I look at the sides, and then I read it over and over again. And I try to add new stuff. Like, I try to, like, add little improv lines in it, in each line, because they're going to hear the same audition all day.
Yeah. What kind of improv do you do, like, add a whole bunch or just a little bit here or there? Or when you improvise in a piece of copy, like, how much do you feel is the appropriate amount, you know?
Okay. Just a little bit. Something like, I may not do it on every line, maybe like 2 lines, just to show that I understand the character. Like, I read for a character, I won't say what it is.
Sure.
But this character is greedy, he's young, and he's kind of like, he's very manipulative. So in this scene, he's talking to an undead creature, and he's trying to, like, you know, get him to do something that he wants to do. And the mummy's brainless, and this kid is trying to, like, manipulate him. And so I added a little bit, like, you know, like, come on, yeah, do this, yeah, it'll be worth your while. Just like small stuff like that.
I see. So just a little, it doesn't have to be a great deal of improvisation. You're not reinventing the wheel, but you're just doing little things to enhance what's there, to make it sort of unique and make it your own and make it clear that you understand things.
Yes. And based off the auditions that I either get a callback for or my first job that I actually booked was the auditions where I added something to the lines. Something. It could be anything. Yeah. So that's pretty much my process.
What's the callback process like? Was that for animation or for video games or commercial stuff, or what was your
animation? Mostly is my bread and butter right now.
Yeah, great.
Okay, the callback.
I mean, how is that? What's that process like for you?
It's so much fun because I actually get to go in the actual studio where the production is going to be recorded. I get to meet the people that heard my original audition.
Yeah.
And, you know, put in a face with the casting director and for them to see me. Even if they don't give me the role, you know.
You still build a relationship with these people. Yeah.
And I add them on Facebook later. I've added a couple of them so far, and they surprisingly added me back. So,
wow.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that we have mutual friends that are also in the business. I believe a lot of the people I added, you were a mutual friend. Yeah, and a lot of CESD people. Yeah, and so you know, the process is you can get butterflies a little bit in your stomach.
There's something about the callback process. It's a little bit more intense, right?
Yeah,
because you're closer. It's like I'll chuck rocks all day at something, but if I'm like, ooh, I hit it. Okay, and I got 3 rocks left. I don't know if that analogy makes any sense at all.
It did a little bit.
Okay, a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, so like you just but like they already liked what you did.
Yeah.
You're probably in the top 5, so you beat out a lot of other voice actors, so you should feel very proud. And the reason that you're nervous is because you think you're going to fail, so that should never be a factor.
Yeah.
Like have that same like feeling you had when you go to your agency for the first original audition. When you first do an audition, guys, you usually go to your agency first.
Yeah.
Or you can do it from home. But it's better to go to the agency so the agents can continue to see you and you have a director to direct you in the studio.
Director makes a big difference.
Yes. Because if you do it at home and you're not ready yet, you're going to critique yourself so much and do 100 takes and just not get that organic.
Yeah.
Try to get it in like the first to third take.
Yeah. I think you end up, generally, I find that that's the case if I'm recording at home too. Like I don't know that I'll give a radically different read in the office from what I would at home, but it's that judgment process of sitting there listening to what you did back going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's wise that when you can to go in, it's helpful just to have another set of ears. And usually they're like, yeah, it's great. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
And sometimes when they say that, I'm like, really? But I kind of messed up that line right there. Oh, he didn't seem too aggressive to me.
Right.
You're fine, man.
You're fine.
It's good. You can cover it one more time if you want. And then when you do cover it, you're like, oh, okay, I like the first take.
Yeah, it was fine. You were right. I was totally wrong. I was judging while I was directing while I was reading.
Yes.
Do you run into that?
I do. I did it a lot on my demo, actually.
Really?
You know, that makes you, instead of like you acting from your heart, which is where the art is supposed to come from, you're in your head. Your head is good for certain things, but your heart is where the passion comes from and where that artist, that monster comes from that you become when you do these voice characters.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. That's great, man. The heart is where the monster comes from. Yeah. I cut you off. So when you're in the callback and you're dealing with, do they give you like lots of redirects, or is it go from, it varies based on the casting director?
Okay. From my experience, what they'll do is, they'll have you read all the lines. It's usually like, these are my favorite type of auditions, like when it's just your character's lines, but it'll tell you what emotion they're saying. Instead of like a full like script or whatever, or size where it has the other character's lines interrupting your line.
Yeah.
I mean, those are cool too, because you get to see what you're responding to, but the ones where it's single, your character's lines only, usually in that case, they'll have you read it, and then they'll go like, okay, now we're going to go through each one of those lines, and then we'll give you direction. You could have did the perfect read on your first read, but they just want to see if you can handle direction, which is very important.
Yeah. Because
they could change their mind during a recording session, and you have to be able to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they expect you to get in a few takes, but they just want to hear you get it just right, what they're asking for.
Yeah.
You might speeding it up a little bit. Can you make them, a little bit more nerdy, more of your natural voice? I'm hearing that a lot. Natural voice a lot.
How do you adjust to take that direction? Because that's a tough. I was talking with another actor today about that, of like my natural voice. This is my natural voice, and it's like, well, it's your natural voice, yes, but it's. Are you speaking the way you did in the lobby? Are you speaking the way you did on the phone with your mom? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I'm still trying to figure that out too, actually. Because this is how I'm talking right now is how I would talk if I'm really excited, if I'm engaging in a conversation, I'm, confident, not nervous, just chilling. And so,
but if we were sitting, let's say right now we're sitting on your couch. And well, let's say no, because we're wearing headphones. So you're sitting on your couch and I'm sitting on my couch and we're playing Halo, or we'll pick your multiplayer game.
I would pick Halo.
Okay.
Or Super Smash Brothers.
Super Smash Brothers. Great. So we're playing. So we're playing Go ahead. We're playing Super Smash Brothers, and we're talking.
Man. Okay. I'm gonna get you. Okay. I got Kirby. All right. Your powers.
But then, because you play for a bit, but then you go out of talking about the game and talk about it's kind of like, oh, what happened at work?
Yeah, work was cool today. I met a lot of cool customers,
Sweet.
Did like 3 birthday shout outs. One for like a 70-year-old lady, but I said she was 21, so she felt young again. She loved it.
There it is. There's your natural voice. It's not projected.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah, but I feel that you need to project sometimes, especially if the character is like a young, vibrant character, which is what I go out for a lot.
Yeah.
So
there's an energy to it that needs to be present.
Yes. So your voice just with added energy, with no like added things to it, I guess.
Yeah.
In one of the recent callbacks I had, they originally called me back for one of the characters, and then they were like, "Wait, we actually think you'll be better suited for this character, because your voice is, I think would fit better."
Yeah.
And so when I get like maybe 5 minutes to look it over.
Yeah.
And when they're redirecting me, they're like, just your regular voice, Cedric. You have a nice quality to your voice. Just keep your regular voice. I'm like, okay. That happened with the audition callback before for another cartoon I did, read for too. They're like, nice quality to your voice. Nice. Can you just do that? Because I had like 2 versions of this character. He was a nerdy character, so I had my,
I had my kind of a generic nerdy voice that I usually do,
right?
Which I gave a name. His name is Clarence. Then I had kind of like another character, Seymour, who's a little bit more closed off.
But then when you do your natural, which has a very nice quality.
Thank you.
Your natural voice.
Yeah.
That gives you another character to tap into.
Yep.
So if you gave a name to your natural character voice, your natural voice, well, you could just call it Cedric. Or Cedi, as the ladies call it.
As the ladies call me.
So, what do you have? What do you have coming out that you can talk about, or what's out there that people can track you down and hear your work on, or be familiar with stuff that you got coming around?
I'm not sure if I can mention the name of the pilot yet, but
okay.
I booked a Cartoon Network pilot.
Oh, dude, awesome! Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, you didn't know
awesome.
I posted it on Facebook back in November.
I noticed that is that when you got your SAG card? Is that when you joined?
Yeah, that's when I joined, right after I did that.
Well, I didn't see you in person. I think I said something on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, you did. You're always there to support me.
Well,
Thank you.
Hey, man. Dude, that's awesome. I can't wait to see the show when it comes out.
I'll know this month if it gets picked up or not. We did the first episode in November. It's great. It's an adventure, action, fast-paced comedy.
Fantastic.
I play the antagonist.
Awesome.
Which are always the most fun.
It's the most fun.
And on the on-camera side, I have a movie that I just completed called Resolution Song. It's a faith-based film.
Great.
Starring Lester Spite, who's the voice of Coltrane on Gears of War. Ella Joyce, you might know her from...
Oh, yeah, I know Ella Joyce.
Oh, you know
sure,
Ella?
From Rock.
Yeah.
She was on Rock with Charles S. Dutton.
Mm-hmm. She
and
plays my grandmother.
She plays your grandmother?
Yes.
Well, she teaches a dance class on Friday nights.
Yep.
Yeah.
She told us about that.
We have that on the fridge. We met her at the NAACP Awards. She is something else, man.
Yeah, she's a joy to work with.
I believe it.
Ella Joyce.
Awesome.
We have Tori Hart. She used to be married to Kevin Hart.
Oh, yeah.
And we have Kennedy Slocum from Wits Academy. That's a Nickelodeon show.
Oh, sure. Awesome.
And we have John J. York. I forgot the soap opera he's on. Forgive me, John. He's on a soap opera. IMDb him, but you'll know his face when you see him.
Awesome.
We're not sure when that's coming out. The trailer is out right now on Vimeo. And back on the voiceover side, I've done a few video games too.
Great.
An MMORPG that you can play right now called Echo of Soul.
Yeah.
I play the Rogue. You can pick different classes: Warrior, Rogue, Archer, Guardian, Warlock, and Mage.
That's awesome.
So pick the Rogue. He's the coolest one. He's dark and silent. He can like destroy his opponents with poison and lightning fast moves.
Dude, what a blast! And how can people find you on social media and stuff?
My Instagram is Cedric L Williams. CEDRIC. The letter L. Williams, WILLIAMS.
Awesome.
I will follow you back. And my Snapchat is also Cedric L Williams, where I post behind the scenes of my life stuff.
Sweet.
If something cool happens, or whatever, me working out, a couple shirtless pictures. Just kidding. And you can even add me on Facebook too. Why not? Just type in Cedric L Williams Jr. and you'll see me. I think it's like a picture of me at the gym looking up, trying to look cool.
Right.
And I don't really get on Twitter that much.
Yeah, I
but
feel you.
It's Ced Williams Jr., CEDWILLIAMS Jr. And if you want to check out the Kooky Convo, I haven't done one in a couple years. So, I mean, I actually may end up putting those back on again. You can hear my demos, too, on VoiceBank. But Kooky Convo, just go on SoundCloud and type in soundcloud.com/Cedric Williams Jr., and that's Jr. with just the JR.
Yeah.
And you can find the Kooky Convo on there and see where my humble beginnings, you know?
That's awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming in today and hanging out.
for
This
bringing
was
me.
just great to have you on. And thank you for joining me on another episode of All Over Voiceover with Kid VH. We'll talk to you soon. And please feel free to check out the website and the blog. Peace. This has been All Over Voiceover with Kif VH. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please go to iTunes and give us a positive rating. It truly helps. Follow me on Twitter at KifVH or on Instagram at KifVH or on Vero at KifVH. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you soon. Claim victory and depart the field.
Werewolf?
There,